So when I'm training puppies, there are a couple of behaviors that I like to have on cue that I think of as in my toolbox. And they are really, really easy behaviors to teach. You're always prepared for them because you'll see why. And they are always behaviors that if you teach it just a little bit, you're likely to get, even in complicated circumstances, like even with a puppy that's being bouncy or chasing sheep or whatever. These two behaviors I consider very valuable because they're really good redirect behaviors. So if I need to reel in a pup that's doing something that I don't want them to do, and I've taught them these two behaviors well, I can ask for either of them with a high likelihood of getting them, and they are behaviors that are called incompatible behaviors, in that if they give me either of these behaviors, they're completely incompatible with the dog jumping on me or chasing a sheep, which is a really handy situation to be able to shut down. Now, if you have a behavior going on that you don't like say a pup is putting his feet on you and you push the puppy on the ground, the reason the dog put his feet on you is to get your attention. So if you put him on the ground, just give him attention. Why wouldn't you do that again? It worked really well. Chasing sheep is inherently rewarding to a pup in that it's really fun. So if you want that pup to do something other than what's really fun, you have to be fun yourself, or why would you do it? And if you tell the pup no about doing a behavior that you don't want him to do, if you're punitive about it, he'll learn you're untrustworthy. If you go away, if you simply tell him no, what he'll learn if he's a sharp dog is don't do it when you're around. So you didn't teach him not to do the behavior, you taught him not to do it when you're not there. And the bigger issue is you didn't teach him what to do instead. Okay, don't chase sheep. What are you going to do? The dog is likely to fill in the blanks and give you any number of behaviors that maybe you don't want. So if you're around a dog that's putting his feet on you or chasing sheep or whatever, and you redirect to a behavior that you like and you reward for that behavior when you're in the midst of the environment around sheep or whatever was pushing the buttons of the dog, not only does he learn not to do those behaviors, but he learns that it's really nice if he does these, if he's quiet, if he looks at you, if he listens, whatever. So these are really simple, maybe even stupid little games with the clicker that you may think are not a big deal in and of itself, but in the midst of working with an adolescent dog out in a field, they can just be really invaluable. So the two behaviors that I want to teach, I will refer to in my literature as touch and look. Touch is, the way that I teach it, is put your nose right here. Now, you don't just put your hand out. Hands you have all the time. They have to look like a signal for this behavior. They have to look different. So I do a slice. I do like this. My hand is rigid, it's flat. When you're teaching this, if you hold your hand out like this, your puppy's very likely to investigate your palm because they're used to being touched. So the minute he puts his hand on or his nose on your palm, you click and you pay. That's how you start to teach this. And we're going to bring in a couple of dogs and teach this in front of you. Neither of these dogs have been exposed to this. I teach it one way. I know Kathy taught it to her puppy last year when she took him home, but I've never seen her teach this, so I don't know if she teaches it like I do. So we're going to give you two different dogs and two different versions of teaching it. The other behavior that I like to put on cue is look. And all I want is that dog to look me in the eye. And I can tell you that if you're in with a sea of dogs and a dog looks at you, you have his brain. And if you have his brain, you can ask for something else, like touch. With the dog that is moving around a lot, sometimes people like to do things like sit. Crazy making. A dog that's buzzing all around can't give you a non-moving behavior very easily, but they might be able to charge from across the way to this. Or a dog that's 30 feet away that you've taught to look up and look at you when you say his name and then say look, may choose to look at you from 30 feet away. You click and reward or just say, yay, good dog. And he comes to you from 30 feet away. You didn't have to have a leash on him. You didn't have to go get him. You redirected him back to you. So we'll show you how to teach this a little bit, and I'll talk more about how to use these behaviors in writing and in other videos.